Thinking about Canadian citizenship in 2025? Forget shortcuts. You can't buy a Canadian passport, but you can invest in a path that gets you there. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how much Canadian citizenship really costs, which investment programs actually work, and why this might be the smartest investment decision you'll make in 2025. Hi, I'm Reza from Ingwe Immigration. We're a global mobility firm helping investors, entrepreneurs, and families live, work, and do business worldwide. Investing and relocating can be complex, especially in Canada, where rules keep changing and one wrong move can cost you years or even your eligibility. That's why we're here, to simplify the process and give you clarity and peace of mind. Here's the critical issue most entrepreneurs and investors face today. Immigration agencies worldwide are steering clients toward quick Caribbean citizenship by investment programs, not because they're the best option, but because they're easier to sell and generate higher commissions. As specialists with deep expertise in both fast-track citizenships and Canadian investment immigration, this is what others are not telling you. Canada actually offers the fastest and most cost-effective pathway to a G7 passport through investment, and in this video I'll show you exactly why. So, how does Canadian citizenship work? Let me be crystal clear about this. You cannot directly buy a Canadian passport. Canada does not offer a citizenship by investment program like Dominica or Grenada. Instead, Canada follows a structured, multi-stage immigration process designed to promote long-term settlement and integration into Canadian society. However, there are a handful of programs that provide a direct pathway to permanent residency, which is the most essential step toward eventually becoming a Canadian citizen. The process works in three distinct stages. Stage 1, temporary residency, student, work, or visitor permits. Stage 2, permanent residency, your foundation for citizenship. Stage 3, citizenship. You must hold PR and live in Canada for at least 3 years within a 5-year period to qualify for citizenship. Traditionally, most applicants came to Canada through 3 main pathways to achieve citizenship. Education, study at a Canadian institution and work after graduation with a PGWP. Employment, enter with a job offer from a Canadian employer. Business, obtain LMIA exempt work permits for entrepreneurs and business owners such as C10 and C11 categories. For years, these routes led smoothly to permanent residency when combined with skilled immigration streams, but times have changed. Immigration quotas are tightening, demand is soaring, and these once reliable pathways are now more competitive and less likely to lead directly to PR. That's why investment-based programs have become the most direct and strategic routes for many applicants in 2025. But what investment programs lead directly to permanent residency? There are 3 main investment-based immigration pathways that can lead directly to Canadian permanent residency and ultimately citizenship, bypassing those increasingly competitive traditional routes. First, the Quebec Immigrant Investor Program. This program requires a net worth of 2 million Canadian dollars, French language proficiency at CLB level 7, 2 years of management experience, and a high school diploma. The investment structure involves 1 million Canadian dollars that's government guaranteed and fully refundable after 5 years, plus a $200,000 non-refundable donation. However, the initial investment can be financed through local intermediary financial institutions for approximately $350,000, making the total non-refundable investment around $550,000 Canadian dollars. Second, provincial entrepreneur programs. Provincial entrepreneur programs vary depending on the province, but in general, they require a net worth of $300,000 to $600,000 Canadian dollars. 3 years of business experience and language proficiency at CLB levels 4 to 5. The investment ranges from $100,000 to $250,000 Canadian dollars, with 80% physical presence required in your chosen province throughout the 3 to 4.5 year timeline. Third, the Startup Visa Program. The Startup Visa Program has no minimum investment amount, no age limit, and no net worth requirement. You need CLB level 5 language proficiency and must secure endorsement from a designated organization. However, most investors should budget around $200,000 to $250,000 Canadian dollars for business startup capital and fees, with a timeline of 3.5 years through priority organizations. But is all this time and money worth it to obtain Canadian citizenship? Let's put Canada's investment requirements in perspective. Canada requires 250,000 to 550,000 Canadian dollars with a 3-year timeline post-PR. Compare this to the United States EB-5 program requiring 800,000 US dollars, the United Kingdom requiring 1 million British pounds, or New Zealand requiring 5 million New Zealand dollars, all with 4 to 6 year timelines. In addition, the Canadian passport consistently ranks in the top 7 to 10 most powerful passports globally, offering visa-free access to over 184 countries, including direct access to the United States without ESTA requirements. All of this represents exceptional value for G7 citizenship. Pro tips and what to avoid. Here are insider tips to accelerate your citizenship journey. Time spent in Canada before obtaining PR counts as half days toward your 3-year citizenship requirement. Minor children can apply for citizenship when one parent qualifies, and after obtaining PR, you can relocate to any province regardless of your original immigration program. In today's Canadian immigration landscape, we strongly advise clients to avoid temporary residency programs if their ultimate goal is to settle in Canada. Options like intra-company transfers, C10 and C11 work permits, and bilateral investor permits may offer short-term entry, but they do not provide a clear path to permanent residency. With these routes becoming increasingly competitive and uncertain, the smarter approach is to choose programs that lead directly to PR. In conclusion, Canadian citizenship through investment represents the most cost-effective pathway to a G7 passport, especially as traditional routes become increasingly unreliable. At Ingwe, we make complex immigration pathways simple and actionable. With almost a decade of experience in the startup visa space and having supported clients from 55+ nationalities, we build real teams set up for long-term success. Your Canadian citizenship journey starts with making the right decision today. Book a consultation with our team or complete our free pre-assessment using the links in the description below. Your second passport begins with that first click. And if you learned something valuable today, smash that like button and subscribe for real insights on immigration and global mobility programs that can change your life. See you in the next video.